You just lost $300 this month and you didn't even touch your wallet. A specific algorithm, the same one tracking your cursor right now, just triggered a dopamine spike in your brain, forcing an impulse purchase you didn't need. This isn't just marketing, it is a calculated psychological trap embedded in your daily feed. Let's dismantle the exact mechanics of how these corporations are draining your bank account through your subconscious marketplace. Advertisers are not just selling you products, they are building a customized map of your insecurities and desires and then selling that map back to you as a series of must have purchases. The average person is exposed to between 4,000 and 10,000 advertisements every single day. That is a massive deluge of information designed to override your rational decision making process. Think about the last time you bought something you did not really need. Maybe it was a gadget, an extra pair of shoes, or a subscription you rarely use. You told yourself it was a deal or that you had earned it, but deep down, you were acting on a script written by someone else. Ever wonder why some companies seem to know exactly when you are most likely to open your wallet? It is not luck. It is applied behavioral science. Let's look at the first method they use to catch you off guard. The first technique is the concept of scarcity and artificial urgency. Have you ever seen a countdown clock on a website or a sign saying only 2 items left in stock? That is the oldest trick in the book, and it works because your brain is hardwired to fear missing out. In a 2012 study by researchers at the University of Pennsylvania, subjects were presented with items that were framed as scarce. Even when the quality of the product was identical to the readily available version, participants assigned a significantly higher value to the scarce option. It triggers a fight or flight response, moving you from your logical frontal cortex to your impulsive emotional center. My friend Marcus once saw and noticed that a digital course he was eyeing had only 3 spots left at the current price. He dropped $200 immediately without even checking the syllabus. 6 months later, he checked the site again. The price was identical, and there were, magically, always 3 spots remaining. He felt foolish, but he was just human. We are evolutionarily programmed to prioritize scarce resources. Modern marketing just hacks that evolutionary response to make you click buy now. Okay, that is the entry level tactic. It works, and it works fast. But there is a more sophisticated layer that happens when they move past fear and start manipulating your identity. This brings us to the second, more subtle method, which is the use of social proofing and aspiration engineering. You don't just buy a product, you buy a version of yourself that you want to become. Advertisers don't sell cars. They sell the feeling of status or the illusion of being a rugged adventurer. They use what psychologists call the halo effect, where the positive associations of a celebrity or an influencer are transferred directly onto the product. If a high status person uses a certain brand of watch, your brain shortcuts the evaluation process and assumes that the watch somehow confers a piece of that person's success onto you. A 2017 report from the Harvard Business Review noted that influencer marketing campaigns generate 11 times the return on investment compared to traditional banner ads. Why? Because you trust people, even if you know they are being paid to influence you. Think about the last time you bought a product because a creator you follow used it in a video. You weren't buying the item itself, you were buying a sense of belonging to that creator's lifestyle. It is a subconscious tether. If you are finding this breakdown helpful, hit subscribe. I drop deep dives like this every single week. If you find this is clicking for you, a quick subscribe helps me keep making these videos. Now, I promised you that the third method is the one nobody talks about, and frankly, it is the one that has the most profound impact on your bank account. It is called choice architecture or nudge theory, and it is everywhere, from the layout of your grocery store to the interface of your favorite shopping app. Remember how I said the best one was coming? Here it is. Companies deliberately structure the way you make choices to influence you toward the most expensive option without you ever realizing you are being steered. Take the decoy effect. You go to the movies and see a small popcorn for $5 and a large for $8. The gap is $3, so you hesitate. Then they add a medium size for $7.50. Suddenly, the large seems like an incredible value because for only 50 cents more than the medium, you get significantly more popcorn. You weren't going to spend $8 on popcorn, but the decoy medium changed your perception of the large. Dan Ariely, a professor of psychology and behavioral economics, famously tested this in a laboratory setting using newspaper subscriptions. He offered an online option for $59, a print option for $125, and a print plus online option for $125. Nobody chose the print-only option. It existed purely as a decoy. By adding that useless option, 84% of people chose the most expensive bundle because it felt like a bargain compared to the print-only price. Without the decoy, the vast majority of people chose the cheap, online-only option. Let that sink in for a moment. A single, useless choice was added to the menu, and it changed the buying behavior of nearly everyone involved. This happens in your apps every day. When you see three tiers of subscription services, the middle one is almost always a decoy meant to push you toward the high tier plan. Once you see it this way, you can't unsee it. You will start noticing decoys in your grocery store, on your streaming platforms, and even in your car insurance quotes. You are being nudged by design. So there you go. Three real actionable ways that advertising manipulates your spending, and the last one alone is enough to change your entire financial outlook. If you stop and ask yourself, is this a decoy? Every time you look at a pricing menu, you will keep hundreds of dollars in your pocket every year. It is not about stopping spending. It is about stopping the blind, reactive spending that these companies rely on. If you got value from this, share it with someone who needs to hear it and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I have a video coming out next week on how big tech uses your scrolling habits against you, and I think you are really going to want to see it. Stay aware, stay logical, and I will see you in the next video. Thinking about the future of your wallet is the first step toward reclaiming your agency. Every time you recognize one of these tricks, you are essentially giving yourself a raise. It is a small victory, but those victories compound. Your money is your labor, and your labor is your life energy. Protect it. And remember, the market is a game, but you don't have to be a pawn. Just being aware of the decoys and the false scarcity is enough to start tilting the board in your favor. It takes time to break these habits, but you are more than capable of doing it. Take a breath, look at your next purchase, and ask yourself the hard questions. You've got this. See you next time.